Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his thing. Never seen a cancer dead. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his thing.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is your boy Bigger T, and I'm with my boy Big C. And you know what, Clint? America, America, God shed His grace. Or no, wait, July 4th. That's you. It's
you know what we need to do? We need to stop this podcast right now. Let's quit and I'm going to be your manager and you're going to audition for The Voice.
Well, because you know, my mama always said I sing like an angel.
Yeah. If we don't you may be the first 7-chair turn, and they only have 4 chairs. I don't know how that's possible. Like Adam Levine will come back just a turn for you. CeeLo, the entire gang.
This is the Big C, Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T. I'm joined always by my man, Clint Clark. Big C, how you doing, buddy? You excited?
Man, I'm fantastic. I am fantastic. I was mesmerized by your voice, and me talking about, because see, we've talked about this on the podcast before. My singing competition show of choice is The Voice. Yeah. Yours is American Idol. Now, didn't you one time buy your mom, and she loved it, for Christmas, the William Hung?
Yes,
William Hung CD.
In fact, she added, that was her on her list.
Yeah.
She said, I want the William Hung CD. She also asked for the Backstreet Boys one time.
Did you buy that one, or do you just William Hung?
I think I gave her a gift card on that one.
Oh yeah, like here, you can buy your own.
Gave her
I'll be caught buying William Hung, but I won't be caught dead buying the Backstreet Boys.
Just for the ironic
gift card to Hastings.
Yeah, Hastings gift card, something like that. Yeah, man, we're recording today. It's July 3rd.
Still got 10 fingers.
You still got them all. Still got them all. You're gonna, this is the holiday where, we, as Americans, we celebrate our independence from them dirty English. Yeah. I don't want to say that. We got like 10 people that listen to us and
no. Hey, guys, I'm going to tell you, at least from me to you guys, no hard feelings on this end.
No hard feelings. That was 200 something years ago. We don't care.
That's water under the bridge by now.
Water under the bridge. That's tea in the old water or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the tea party that's long ago. Anyway, but yeah, so we celebrate every year as Americans, as we should, with processed meats, and we blow stuff up.
Now, I'm doing it right tomorrow. I really am. And a couple years ago, I felt Tom passing that torch to me like 4th of July. Like he's like, I've got Christmas. 4th of July is yours, kid.
That's right. It's
yours.
You're not ready for Christmas yet.
You're not ready for Christmas yet, but you can have 4th of July. So I went. Coach Ken Prophet, who we've had on the podcast, they do a fundraiser every year where they sell fireworks out at True Saints Holiness Tabernacle down on Dave Ward in Conway. He doesn't even advertisement because they sell out every year. But I went down there and I spent way too much money on fireworks, way too much money. And today I went and bought one more, spent a little bit more money because I'm like, I just want just a gigantic one to be my grand finale.
Yeah.
I want to pick what I'm gonna do for the grand finale. So I got one of like $60 boxes that that thing's a dud. You're going to cry.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I'm excited about blowing stuff up. And also, I will not be eating processed meats tomorrow. I'm going to do it up big. I've got a bunch of ribs. We're going to fire up the smoker tomorrow.
Nice.
I've actually, now that we mentioned this, I've been, ribs are just hard for me to get right. You know, I wish we had Patrick on here. We could talk about this. So I'm trying something new. I did something I've never done before. I made homemade hog lard.
Homemade what?
Hog lard.
Hog lard.
Hog lard. Yes, I made. See, I couldn't find it, and I think that my wife has rubbed off on me here because, like, I was looking on Amazon, it's only because I couldn't find nobody sells it anymore.
Mm.
Now, my granny Audie, who lived to be like almost 100 years old, cooked every meal in hog lard.
Yeah.
They told her, like, you will die if you keep cooking in hog lard. And she goes, I will die without it.
And she's like, how old was she?
She was in her 90s when she passed away.
Yeah, she's like 90-something years old. Like, sounds good. Oh, she didn't.
You know, her house smelled like Campo Finique when you walked in.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you guys in your 40s, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that smells like. Any millennials listening, like, well, what's Campo Finique?
Yeah.
It was very pungent, kids. It was very pungent. But she cooked everything in hog lard. So the new way to smoke the ribs is you get some hog lard and you smoke the hog lard. But I was $20 off Amazon, so I called Harps and I was like, can I get some pork fat? And so I put the pork fat in the crock pot and just cooked it all day. And now I've got 2 jars of homemade hog lard.
Nice.
Spent $3.26 where it'd been $20 off Amazon.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That Paul Clark would be proud of me.
That's right.
Now, another funny Paul Clark story is you know, I love jujitsu.
Mm.
So I call him up. So I've got a guy that's competing on IBJJF, and they broadcast those live on Flow Grappling. So I call, so me and Paul are both on his Flow Grappling at the same time. It is kicking his butt up because I'm logged into Paul's account. Yes, I'm that. I did that. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I committed a small minor crime. So if they come arrest me during the middle of the podcast, Travis, I'm sorry. It's been a good.
That's right. Yeah.
So I call Paul and I'm like, man, look, my guy's grappling. Can you just jump off your account and let me have it just for a little bit? Now, Paul pays the bill. I do not donate anything to this bill. It is 100% Paul's account. It's the first time I'd ever logged into it. And he's like, did you really just call me to ask me to quit watching what I'm watching in my own home so you could watch this?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Paul. Totally.
Yes, I did.
Oh, totally did. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, down here in Thornton, Clint, we have a fireworks show in town. It's my first one since living here, so I'm gonna go to that tomorrow. I think they're giving away free hot dogs and I'm there's gonna be some live bands there. I don't know, it's live music, so yeah. I'm sure it'll be a good little time. Speaking of live music, I went and saw the guy that does the music for our opening and ending each week.
Plays us in and out every week.
Plays us in and out. Sean Michelle, he came down to South Arkansas and El Dorado and Camden this weekend and got to see him perform. And I'm telling you, if you get a chance, he's just moved back to Bryant, and so he's trying to get a few more shows. And so he may be up around the Little Rock area some, but if you're out there listening and you get a chance to go see him, you will not regret it. He puts energy into it. I guarantee you that. If you hear that song at the beginning of ours, that hard 1, 2, 3, 4, and it sounds like it's get you fired up, energy.
Punch you right in the face.
That's who he is. Okay. And he plays an eclectic mix of music. He did Folsom Prison Blues, Clint. And he said he did it at first. He sort of did it in Johnny Cash's voice, sort of, where he sounded kind of like Johnny Cash. And then, but Sean has a natural, when he sings just in his regular voice, it's a real bluesy, almost a black gospel sort of sounding voice to it. Yeah. Kind of a Delta blues sort of a voice. And so it's got like some into it, right? Well, it was real funny. He said, I watched a YouTube video one time of a video of Elvis singing this song with Johnny Cash. And he said, it just didn't sound the same when Elvis did it. He said, but you know, hey, that was Elvis. He said, I'm gonna pretend like Johnny said, let me sit in and sing it with him today. So he sang a couple of the verses. You know, the one I once shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Watch him die.
And sang it, but he sang it in Sean's voice, you know, where it was more rocking anyway.
Yeah.
It was really good. So
now was he thankful for us to keeping him on as the opening? Because you know Bono's called us.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Hey, let me work a little something up for you.
Yeah.
I think Chris Stapleton's called you. He's like, hey, I heard about you from Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, that's right. We're
like,
still waiting on that Dave Grohl Foo Fighter call. You know, since we mentioned him with the Michael Turner interview. Yeah. Since, you know, talked about his hometown and all.
Yeah. Guys, we're loyal guys. We're sticking with Sean Michelle.
We're sticking with Sean Michelle.
Quit calling. Listen, Shakira, you stay out of my DMs. I'm not using you.
Listen, Kanye. I'm liking some of your music, but
yeah.
Listen, Jay-Z, just
y'all coming off needy, guys. You're coming off needy.
Out with Beyonce.
Yeah.
Drake, your new stuff is just not good. So just
Drake, I don't want you messing up my life too.
That's right. You're just leave us alone. Yeah, man. So you got a Holy Snikes moment for us.
I did. I saw this. I saw it and I was like, man, I've got to talk about this on the podcast. Now that we're talking about it, I'm brain farting on his name. Mark Apple, who was the #1 overall draft pick 9 years ago, back in 2013. He was the #1 overall. He was the number 8 overall draft pick. And then they didn't pony up enough money. He's like, hey kids, guess what? I'm going back to college. Mm-hmm. And then he got drafted #1 overall. And actually just hadn't worked out for him. Pitched for the first time in the majors in 9 years. And it was quite a journey. Like at one time, like he battled depression real bad for not living up to expectations. Because man, when you're the #1 overall pick, it is so rare. They're saying this guy is going to the majors.
Oh yeah.
He was actually only one of 3 guys. Brian Taylor, who I believe was a pitcher drafted out of high school. And Steve Chilcutt of the New York Mets. Now, I mean, you talked about this the other day, and I kind of dorked out a little bit because I like sometimes looking at anomalies because, well, I'm weird. Yeah, it's just the way I'm wired. I think what I mean. So this is your classic Sam Bowie moment. Yeah, this is because guess who? Because Steve Chilcutt drafted #1 overall by the New York Mets in 1966. Guess who the #2 overall pick was?
In what year?
1966.
Oh, wow.
It's only 10 years before you're born, Travis. How don't you know this?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Who is?
Reggie Jackson.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, when you think about
October.
Mr. October was drafted #2 overall in 1966 by the Kansas City Athletics.
Kansas City.
Kansas City, not Royals, Athletics.
Yeah.
So then, as me and you were discussing it the other day, I told you, I said, only because I had this one wrong. I said, the #1, who the first, there's only one #1 overall pick, and I was wrong about this, to be in the MLB Hall of Fame. And at the time, I told you I thought it was, I knew Chipper Jones, but there's actually 2 others. No, Chipper Jones was the second. You have any clue who #1 would be? And it's recent. We would know who they are.
Well, I remember you told me.
Yeah.
But I can't. Well, no, I can't. No, I don't remember.
First father and son to play together.
Oh, Griffey.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. was the first one. He went in the Hall of Fame in 2016.
Yeah.
So you can think about that. How long the MLB draft has been a thing.
Yeah.
That it took to 2016 for a guy to be drafted #1 overall.
Wow.
To get in. Then Chipper Jones, and then even though I think he was probably drafted first, Harold Baines. He went in 2019.
I got a bunch of his cards.
Yeah.
He was one that got printed a bunch back in the day.
So, and I was telling you at the time, I said, well, Chipper Jones was the earliest draft pick. The latest draft pick to ever get inducted in the MLB Hall of Fame was Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
Which, and this is, once again, I nerded out on this a little bit. I apologize for just, I'm a cesspool of useless information, people.
Yeah.
But he broke the record of the guy that said it before, literally the year before. So and it was John Smoltz.
Really? Smoltz
was drafted in the 22nd round. And Mike Piazza shattered the record. Shattered it. Drafted in the 62nd round.
Wow.
The 1,390th pick.
Wow. Piazza.
Mike Piazza.
He could hit that ball.
Wasn't the best defensive catcher in the world.
No.
But yeah, he could hit the ball. Played a lot of first base towards the end of his career, but it just, that was did you think about that? Hall of Famers like John Smoltz, 22nd round. Mike Piazza, literally almost 3 times as many rounds back.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's crazy. And
that's wild.
From what I'd heard, and me and you both think we remember hearing this story. Source on this is mine and Travis's memory, which
right, yeah,
not that good. So, we think that Piazza was literally drafted as a favor to Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, I think so, but
we can't remember. It's not verified. I didn't Google it.
We're wrong on that. Just say, yeah, they're idiots.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff put out there with politicians that's got less research than that. So who cares? Let's go.
That's right. Yeah. All right, Clint. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but our baseball team is going to look a lot different next year.
They really are.
People are transferring out.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some we expected. I think Leach was a little bit surprising. Kind of surprising because he was the only catcher on the staff at the time, and then you find out who they got coming in. They got a switch hitting JUCO or a small college catcher that was he JUCO?
No, I think they did get a JUCO infielder.
But he anyway, this catcher, they got a switch hitting catcher coming in that hit over 400. Yeah. But then you got and Leach goes to Missouri. And you got, was it Toll that went to Texas?
I think so.
Now, here's what I question for you though, Clint.
Right, yeah.
Something we're seeing on Twitter or wherever else when these guys, announce they're leaving, either them saying it or someone else saying it. They're saying, once a hog, always a hog. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Is Leach is going to Missouri,
right?
A team that we're going to battle for a conference championship. I mean, we're better than them normally, but see what I'm saying? And he's going to play for them. Is he wants a hog because he hit for a cycle against UCA earlier in the year? Yeah. All of a sudden, he's wants a hog, always a hog.
It's easy to paint it with a broad brush. It really is. You want to take a big, long, you want to take one of them rollers, you want to paint the entire wall with that and say, this is what this is. The reality is every case is different. I'm going to name I'll name 3 football players. I'll name 4. Mike Woods. Would you consider Mike Woods always a hog?
No.
Would you say Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché always a hog?
Them. See, I don't know.
Ty Story. Is Ty Story always a hog?
See, Ty Story, I feel like I do feel like it because he got pretty much told to leave.
Right. See, isn't like Jackson Robinson, basketball player, pretty much said, look, I've got Ricky Council coming in. I want Ricky Council more than I want you.
Yeah.
So every case is different. You know, like Ty Story was basically told, hey, we don't have space for you anymore.
Yeah.
We don't. Mike Woods, I don't know why Mike Woods transferred. It makes no sense. I
And
think
see, the Mike Woods one, I'm going to always be a little angry about, because Mike Woods was Mr. Razorback. He was the Razorback football team representative on social media. He had his YouTube channel. He was the voice in a lot of ways of that team for the public.
He really was.
And then all of a sudden, and he had a good spring.
Yeah.
So he didn't leave. Ty Story left knowing that he wasn't going to be used. And that he
was told as much by Chad Morris.
Exactly. Mike Woods was going to be used, as far as we know, unless there's something we don't know.
He was the number 2 wide receiver, and it seemed like, yeah, it's still like it goes back to what the transfer portal was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sam Pittman has captured it better than anybody. No, and we've talked about on this podcast. No, that won't be said. He won't take a good transfer out of the portal because he's like, well, no, that's not what the thing was meant to be used for.
Yeah.
Now, if he can upgrade his team roster by getting somebody out of the portal, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
But the portal was meant for guys that are probably over recruited that aren't going to be able to play. You know, we had a running back this year, and he told him, he goes, man, that's exactly what the portal was meant for. I would even say Traylon Smith, who just transferred from Arkansas. I would consider Traylon Smith always a hog because Traylon Smith saw the writing on the wall.
Well, and I think Traylon Smith came here. He transferred in. He helped us during a time to get us to where we are now. Okay.
Yeah.
He put in the effort, and then the recruiting saw him move down, and he saw it. Dominic Johnson, Rocket Sanders, and AJ Green are gonna take his carries. He knew that,
and everybody's excited about James Joyner too.
Exactly. You know, they say Joyner's just a smaller version of Rocket Sanders, a little bit smaller version. And so he went out and he went somewhere where he knew the offense, where he could get some playing time right away and finish his last year and try to make it to the pros. And that's where, and I mentioned this to you when I first threw this idea at you to talk about this, or you may have brought it up, I can't remember. But when we talked about, you know, this is an idea of what to talk about. One of the ones that we've forgiven in the past that we consider once a hog, always a hog is Houston Nutt.
Yeah.
You know, he started out at Arkansas. Now, if I remember right, didn't Houston come in under Holtz?
I think he did.
No, he came in under Broyles, and Holtz was going to change the offense. So that's why he went to Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Because it was going to be a different offense than what he was recruited into. And so he wasn't going to have a chance to play.
Right.
And that's why it's so much easier to forgive him. Plus, when he came back as a coach, and even to this day, he's proven that he's a Razorback. Okay.
Well, I mean, not to a degree. The end of his tenure was tumultuous, and
yeah,
that's another Oprah show. But for the most part, he brought respectability back to Arkansas.
Yes,
he did the same thing that Sam Pittman's done. You know, and that's being said, I know this wasn't what we're talking about, but I've seen a lot of things that this is the worst coaching hire of the last 10 years. It's like Chad Morris, best coaching hire of the last 10 years.
Sam Pittman.
That's like the number one and one. Yeah. Like we've hit it on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's just you can't judge every case the same because, like Ty Story was told, like no, and
Well,
then
and I see, like in Ty's story, that was going to be his chance. Going to Western Kentucky was going to be a place where he could go, try to prove himself, try to make it to the NFL.
yeah,
Fouché and Brooks went to one of our main rivals. Now, it was the school that they grew up loving. I understand that.
right, yeah.
And I do appreciate what they did while they were here. You've heard me on this podcast. I was a big Fouché fan. Okay.
Well, Fouché had that C on his chest.
And I loved watching the guy play. I thought he put out a lot of effort. Yes, he made mistakes, but a lot of guys that we love made mistakes on that defense. But I really think there's a difference though when you go to a rival team in the SEC like that. When you go, like a Leach going to Missouri, Toll going to Texas, those just tend to hurt worse, Clint.
They do. I mean, they do. I remember. I remember the day that, like, I looked down at my phone and I saw on Twitter that Albert Pujols was signing with the Angels, and I'm a huge Cardinal fan. It broke my heart.
Yeah,
it just really it was a kick to the gut. When you're a fan that you just love the team and you see one of your players doing that you love doing it hurts.
Yeah.
But see, with Ty Story, it was a team that he grew up loving. He'd always wanted to play for. And
not Ty Story.
No, I'm saying Ty Story grew up wanting to be a Razorback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so Ty Story, I may have started it wrong. I do that sometimes, but you're going to be a Razorback. That was where he wanted to be, and then the program did it to him.
And I think it really hurt Ty Story to leave.
It did. I don't know because I think it killed him when he got knocked out of that Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
If Ty Story hadn't got knocked out of that Ole Miss game that one year, Chad Morris has at least one SEC win.
Yeah.
Because that team believed in Ty Story.
Yeah.
I think Ty Story was the leader of that team in a dysfunctional situation. And then you see that chip he put on his shoulder when he got to come back.
Yeah.
When he's like, he pretty much got Chad Morris fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he did. And he's like, he handled the entire thing with class. And then he made an Instagram post. It wasn't bad. He was like, you thought I'd forgot. I had it.
Yeah.
Like, you took my dream from me. You took my dream.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine. And then he took Chad Morris's job and made him one of the biggest jokes in the history of college football.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ty Story. You are forever a hog.
That's right.
Some of you other guys that's transferring, we're going to judge you on a case-by-case basis.
That's right.
And you were totally right about Woods. That one hurt more than anything. Him and Lucas Coley, both, were two just the most energetic guys on Twitter and Instagram, pumping up the hogs.
Yeah.
And, now Coley, he left because he was so far down the depth chart, he may never have saw the field.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be better than Malachi Singleton. And I don't think he's definitely not better than KJ Jefferson.
No.
But see, I wouldn't consider Coley always a hog.
Yeah.
No. So I played more downs at Tech than he did at Arkansas. Just saying.
Now, Clint, another big news this week. Okay, this is huge. A bomb dropped the other day. Okay, which we've done whole podcast on this idea of realignment of super conference.
Oh yeah.
And in the past, and one of the things that we talked about, there was a graphic come out when Texas and everyone says this is the big bomb that dropped. They're wrong. The big bomb that dropped was Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, that was the big bomb.
That's what started all this. That's the catalyst for everything else that's happening right now. Okay. It's just there's all those USC huggers out there that, want to make this be the biggest one. But so you have SEC with 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now here goes USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten to make 16 teams.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? And will there be 16?
Yeah, there'll be 16 teams.
Now, were you as shocked as I was? Going there?
No, I wasn't. But Patrick, because there was the rumblings about Duke and North Carolina joining the SEC.
Mm.
And Patrick's like, he goes, if you're hearing about it, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
Because this was just like the Texas Oklahoma thing. Well, we didn't hear about it till it was like, oh dang, it's not being talked about. It's happening.
Well, you say that, Clint. I heard about it 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, but no one took it seriously.
I don't know. I forget when it was, but I was listening to a national sports radio show, and they had a guy come on that was a college football, college sports guru or something. And he said he predicted all this that's happening so far. He didn't predict the USC UCLA thing, but he did predict Oklahoma and Texas.
Right.
And he predicted it going to some super conferences and things like that. And the host on that show poo-pooed him. They thought that's not going to happen. And like, even after he got off there, and I was like, are y'all kidding me? That what he said makes sense. And so, to be honest with you, I've been kind of waiting for this for 4 or 5 years.
So I'm going to ask you some questions right now, and you can answer them yes or no.
Got
Is the Big 12 going to survive?
Well, I got a text earlier from our buddy Mike Floyd, and he said there is a report out that let me see what it's sources indicate to Wildcat Authority that there will be significant discussions centered around Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah making their way to the soon-to-be altered Big 12 conference.
Okay. See, in that case, I think they'll survive. They're adding some quality schools.
The only way I see it working is if they take the Big 12 and add it to what's left of the Pac-12.
Yeah. There's going to be a Big 4. Now, obviously, I think the SEC still has established themselves as the big dog on the block.
Oh yeah.
Because now I do think the Big 10 added the 2 most attractive schools out there outside Texas and Oklahoma.
You can argue that Oregon would be more attractive than UCLA.
You can. I don't think they're quite what UCLA is in baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
I think, their overall portfolio is better.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly's an attractive head coach. He really is for the football team. He's an attractive personality to bring into your conference.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem the style of play at UCLA and USC, the perception doesn't quite fit the Big 10 to me.
No.
I don't think of.
Not even with Lincoln Riley there.
No, I just don't. Burt makes more sense in the Big 10 to me than USC. I don't think they quite fit.
Yeah.
But what they did is they went out and added that LA television market.
Oh,
the Big 10 did. That's what they did. They got that LA. So
the average road trip, Clint, for the LA schools is going to be over 2,000 miles with the rest of the schools.
See,
farthest being Rutgers.
It makes football. It makes sense. I think location doesn't matter in football. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Just blow it up. Just put freaking UCLA in the same conference as Syracuse. Yeah. Who cares? It's one Saturday a year.
Yeah.
And you're going to make money off the trip because you're going to draw fans. Where it's going to hurt is when your women's volleyball team has to fly from Los Angeles, California to New Jersey to play Rutgers. Yeah. That's when it's going to make no sense.
Now, that's why I want to talk about that in a minute. Okay. I want to circle back real quick.
Okay. My bad.
Because no. You didn't know I wanted to do that. So the first big shoe to drop was Texas, Oklahoma. The second big one to drop is USC, UCLA. The next one everybody's waiting for right now, Clint.
Notre Dame, isn't it?
Notre Dame is going to do.
See, I don't think Notre Dame's going to do anything. If you're Notre Dame, what's it worth to you? Why would you do it? You have your own television contract. You can play who you want. Everybody wants to play you. It's not like if Notre Dame called up, let's just say Boise State, and said, "Hey, Boise, we have an opening in 2031 and 2032. We'll do a home and home with you." You know, boys, every school in this country is going to say, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
Let's just do it. They'll set up a buyout, and all that.
Well, and there's a couple other things in there. Okay. For one thing, here's the concern that Notre Dame has. If they form these super conferences, then only teams in those super conferences are going to be eligible for a national championship. So if Notre Dame doesn't align with one of those super conferences, then they will not be eligible, because more than likely what's going to come with these super conferences, Clint, is going to be a new form of NCAA. Like we talked about with Patrick, the NCAA, something like the NCAA, a governing body will be there. It'll be another name, okay? Before it was NCAA, it was the NAIA. Then now it's NCAA. I think they're going to get rid of the NCAA. They're going to have something new. It's going to be a governing body that's going to come up with rules for NIL. That's going to come up with rules for transfer portal. So it's not as crazy as what it is now among these super conferences. And if you're not in one of those super conferences, there's a good chance that you do not have a chance to compete for the national championship, unless they decide to make some playoff spots for outside teams coming in. But if these conferences are 20 teams, Clint, you can't even play all the teams in your conference.
See, here's what I think is going to happen. And I've literally thought this up a few minutes ago. So don't. So it's. I think we're ended up with four major conferences. I think what the leftovers of the Pac-12 and Big 12 are going to merge. And I think if they do that, they have a competitive conference. So I think the SEC, Big 10, I could see a scenario where at the end of the year, the top four teams of every conference play in like an interconference playoff, and then the four champions go on. I can see something like that happen. Like that, do a 16-team playoff, but you have four from each conference and y'all play it amongst your conference.
Yeah. And
then whoever the conference champion goes. I think something like that would work. It makes too much sense for them to do it.
Well, here's a couple other wrenches to throw in there. What if they end up going to 20-team conferences? Because right now we're thinking about 16-team conferences. We're thinking SEC will stay pat where they're at, right? Well, there's rumors out there that the SEC is going after Florida State, Miami, Clemson, and possibly North Carolina. Okay.
No, I would be.
Rumors that the Big Ten is going after some of those same schools, including Notre Dame. Now, the thing with Notre Dame that I wanted to come back to real quick, Notre Dame already has a tie-in with the ACC.
They do.
Other sports. So in order for them, but it would be profitable for them to join the Big Ten, which would make the most sense to them, because they would still be able to keep the rivalry with USC that's lasted forever. They would, and they would just have to pay a payout to the ACC for those other sports. But then what they would make being a part of that Big Ten network and all that stuff, they would.
That's what's got to happen is Notre Dame's got to look at the paper and being like, okay, this financially makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, national championships are cool, but millions upon millions and millions of dollars is cooler.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of the day. It's a business.
Yeah.
College is like, you can say it's about education, all that. No, it's a business. Your universities want to make money.
But see, and like you were talking about, so let's say that there's 4 super conferences, right?
And I do think that's where we're heading.
That would mean the ACC needs to be one of those, the way things are right now.
Yeah.
But if the SEC goes in and steals Clemson and all those schools that I just mentioned, then what does that leave for an ACC conference?
No, so
Maryland, Syracuse.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have and that's where this USC thing to me is so huge, because to me, okay, in the SEC you have Alabama and Texas were your hinge schools, right? I mean, we got all the other ones, but I mean, you got Georgia, you can argue all those others, and
right,
SEC, but you know, you got, I mean, Texas and Alabama, they were they're your blue blood, whatever. And the Big Ten, you got Ohio State, Michigan, and all the others. I thought you were going to just have the Pac-12 would add some schools from out that direction.
Right, like see them like at Boise State, maybe South
San Diego State, somebody like that, whatever. Bring in some of those schools. But then USC and UCLA were going to be, and Oregon were going to be your blue bloods there or whatever. But them coming over to the Big Ten totally changes that and makes it almost to where, are we going to have 2 conferences? I mean, are we going to have 2? Are we going to have, is it going to be like the NFL with the NFC, AFC with divisions? It's crazy, Clint.
Who knows how it's going to end up? But now, because the schools to me that make the most sense to add for us, for them, because I mean, if you want to you want to keep some players in the other conference, so you'll have people to compete against. Mm-hmm. You want to keep. So I'm against adding Clemson. I'm against adding Miami because I don't think that move is good. I think killing the ACC would be bad for college sports.
Especially in basketball.
I think killing the ACC would be bad for college sports.
Yeah.
The Big 12 and the Pac-12 were kind of the 2 weaker Power 5 conferences. To me, those make the most sense to kill off. So what you can do is you can merge the bottom end of the Big 12, Pac-12, but I don't think it would ever be considered Power 4 worthy. I think the Big 12, the ACC, maybe you could count them in. I think Oklahoma State makes the most sense to be in the SEC. Right.
Oklahoma State, Baylor.
I think those 2 make the most sense. That gets you up to 16 teams.
18
teams. And if you're going to do 2 more, I'm not sure who you go after from there. But I think those 2 teams to me make the most sense. I would agree with you, Baylor. And I think they fit the blueprint. They fit the footprint.
Houston's a pretty good draw. I mean, they're
good. Yeah, I don't know about Houston. But I think that would be a real slap in the face to A&M because A&M really recruits Houston really well. I think A&M would put the kibosh on that real quick.
You're right.
I think TCU would make more sense. That way you get the Dallas market.
That's true.
I mean, I'm saying I would be against, not because I'd be scared of playing Clemson. I think Arkansas and Clemson have been a heck of a ball game this year.
Yeah.
I think it would look like the Arkansas LSU game, but I think it'd have been a heck of a ball game.
Yeah.
But I think you compete with Florida State, Miami, especially as long as my buddies down there kind coaching Florida State. I don't want to get fired up. I'll need to go take my calm down medication if I do.
Yeah.
But you know, I know people have been talking about Memphis joining the. I've seen Memphis joining the ACC. I saw reports of that. So stuff's happening. I think
it's crazy, Clint. It's gonna in 10 years. It's gonna be a whole new world.
Mhm.
It's gonna be a whole new world. We're gonna figure out the NIL, NIL stuff. Well, here's the thing too with that. I heard someone mention this on ESPN radio this morning. And it was kind of a dumb statement at first. In fact, the host, this caller mentioned it, and then he but even with the NIL and the transfer stuff and everything, when does all this college age sports disconnect from the educational part of it? Because to be honest with you, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, the educational part just gets in the way. It's a new world. Those kids, there's some of them that are there and they do get degrees and they care about that. There's others. How many of them, Clint, have tutors that are doing all their work for them?
Oh, I'm sure
they're not learning a thing.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more.
And then as soon as their eligibility's up, they're off training for the next level.
Yeah.
And they're there because they can go back and do school later if they want to.
Oh, but can you blame them? I mean,
I don't blame them. I'm not.
No, man,
I'm not talking bad about them one bit.
Oh no, because me and you were talking about like basketball. Like, no, it's your earning time. Go make your money.
I'm not talking bad about them one bit. But as you look at it, and enough, what school was it that Jay-Z's right hand, like CFO, just took over as their AD or something, or like a
not sure, but that
I can't remember. There was some like one of Jay-Z's right hand men just took over as some university, okay, or something. Anyway, but when the business people start taking over, and that's what ADs have become, and that's what Hunter Yurachek is.
Yeah,
Hunter Yurachek is a business person. He's not an educator like Frank Bros was. Frank Bros started out as an educator. Yurachek is a businessman.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job, and I'm proud to have him. I'm not talking bad about him. I'm just speaking the reality. Well, one of these days, people are finally going to look and say, why are we even messing with the educational part of this?
Yeah. No, I mean, most kids are. I mean, you're worried about where you can go to the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe your 2-3 star recruits are worried about their education, but I guarantee you, like, your 5-star, your high 4, your 5 stars, 4 stars, they're thinking, who's going to get me to the NFL?
Now, the one thing that
make me some NIL money,
and this, I'm thinking out loud here, okay? The one thing that may keep them from disconnecting from the education is those NIL deals are not tax deductible anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not considered, it can't be considered or not necessarily the NIL, but the donations for the nice stadium at the school and the facilities for the people to play, you would be taking that away from it.
Yeah.
So that would be I'll probably just.
Well, no, you're right. I mean,
I'll probably just answer my own question right there.
Well, and we've had this discussion at my job where, if you're AT&T, you give $3 million to the University of Arkansas. Why not give the University of Arkansas $2 million and spread the other $1 million out amongst the players, have them shoot commercials and stuff for you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where your donations will cease. Yeah. But the way we could literally a year from now, we next July 4th be having or this podcast and it is not going to look the same.
No,
we'll bring up this, and we could be talking about Memphis jumping the ACC, Florida State, Miami jump into the SEC, you know.
All right, Clint, before we go, different subject. What are you watching?
Oh man, you know what? I started watching today, and I just first time I'd watched it, I was just bored, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a try. But I didn't want to go back too far. I wanted to, you know, watch the latest season. I started watching Master Chef.
Yeah,
Just started watching. I'm watching like season the one that was last year. The one's 2021. And I was like, how have I not been watching this? This show's amazing.
They bring in all the big name chefs and they do tournament style.
Yeah, well, no, this is they have they kind of do like it's almost like one gets eliminated every week, but the big name chef's usually a guest.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's been like they've had Paula Deen, Emerald on there.
Oh, okay.
That's Curtis Stone. Yeah, I think you're thinking Iron Chef.
No, not Iron Chef. It's another one. Guy Fieri does it. But it's like a tournament with all the chefs. And
okay.
All the big name chefs come in and he does a bracket. Like he ranks them 1 through 8.
Yeah.
And there's 16 of them. And then they play it out in like a tournament style.
No, that does sound cool though. But no, I'm just watching. They're no names and they're trying to win. Like first place is $250,000. So I've been binge watching that today. About halfway through the season. Matter of fact, I quit in the middle of the episode to come do this podcast.
Okay, well, sorry.
So yeah, as soon as I get you to quit jibber jabbering, I'm gonna go watch.
Sorry to interrupt. Well, I finished Stranger Things.
Okay.
And, it was excellent.
Now I haven't seen this season yet, but I've heard good things about it. And I did hear next season they're gonna have to make a time jump just because of all the growth spurts the kids have hit.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good though. It's really good. But I watched something, and I want to say you might have mentioned it on here before, or you may have mentioned it some other time. Have you watched Snowflake Mountain?
I started to watch it, and I'm like, this is so fake. I couldn't watch it. Like literally 10 minutes into it, I'm like, this is.
Okay, I watched the whole thing. Well, I take that back. I started watching it.
Okay.
And I took about 2 naps, but it played all the way through.
That's good. I think I watched some of it. I don't remember.
And it was actually pretty, especially by the end of it. The first of it, I really like. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this because these people, they're just annoying.
I know. I hated them all.
And like the premise of it is they take snowflakes. They take young people that are pretty much doing nothing with their life. They're just living off their parents. They're young 20-somethings, most of them. I think there's a couple, it's like 19 or something, but they're pretty much doing nothing. They don't work really. They don't do anything. And these 2 guys take them up in the woods. They tell them they're going for some kind of reality show to this nice resort. And they get there and they're in the woods, staying in like these tents, using an outhouse, and they give them like different things that they have to do, and they can leave anytime they want. But if they leave, they get $50,000. One of them will get $50,000 at the end of it. But if anybody leaves, it takes $5,000 off of that 50. So that there's less that one of them can win. And anyway, it's at first, man, it was just really they're just annoying people. They're just the type of people that, they're getting on there trying to be dramatic, trying to get more camera time, all that kind of stuff. But kind of by the end of it, you start kind of seeing some of they start learning some things. And the 2 guys that host it aren't necessarily the most charismatic guys in the world.
Yeah.
But they're like wilderness training guys, former military guys. But they do a good job teaching them responsibility, accountability, things like that. And so anyway, it actually turned out to be interesting by the end of it.
Good.
I was actually surprised I ended up liking it. I didn't think I would.
You know what movie I ended up rewatching today? Kind of in the middle of watching MasterChef episodes to my son wanted to watch it, and I'm a terrible parent.
What's that?
Dodgeball. I watched Dodgeball today.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I think that is maybe one of the most underrated Jason Bateman performances ever.
Yeah.
I would love to see Gary Cole and Jason Bateman call like a basketball game. Like, you know, and it doesn't have to be like an Arkansas, Baylor, or, you know, Arkansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. Let them call like a Hofstra versus Central Ohio and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah,
I really like Bateman.
You like Bateman?
I do.
But it had one of them scenes in it that me and my wife were watching. I'm like, boy, that didn't hold up well. Whenever at the end of it, and Dodgeball's been out long enough, I don't think I need to go spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, at the end of it where he's quit and he's sitting in the airport ready to fly out and he talks to Lance Armstrong.
Oh yeah.
And Lance Armstrong's giving him the talk about perseverance. I'm like,
that didn't work out so well, did it? Yeah.
Like that one didn't hold up well. Well, Big T Money, we made it through another one, baby.
We made it through another one, folks. This is another episode 69.
Ooh,
episode
70s.
Big C, Bigger T. We'll be 70 next week.
He's 70.
Big C, Bigger T podcast.
We got some big things lined up, people.
Apple, Amazon, all those places.
Yeah.
Check us out.
If you can get a podcast, we're on it. We really are. A
too.
lot of big things line up, but guys, what drives us is you sharing, liking, and subscribing.
That's right.
So
comment, all those kind of things. We got some may have some merch coming out pretty soon. So we got some stickers that if you're wanting one of those, let us know. We'll try to get those out. We've ordered some more. Clint ordered just a sample group, and we may have some more of those coming out later, and who knows what else will happen. But we're working on some more.
We're looking at doing a few things, you know, and you know, one things that, you know, but we're looking at getting more guests on.
Yeah.
I got a big one lined up. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I told Travis I might drop it, but I've told a couple people, and the guys I've talked about are really excited, or talked to about it, are really excited about it. They're like, man, please let me know as soon as that one drops.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
One of the people in this world I'm truly scared to death of.
Yep. Clint may get in trouble on that one.
I may get in trouble. I was telling them, this will be a good Clint gets roasted episode, I'm sure.
Yeah. So. Well, seriously, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Happy 4th of July. Go blow something up.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard drive so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating down so hard, I can barely breathe. Hard to sing a joyful song. work's got me on my knees. Then the gentle breeze blows by, pick me up right on time. Listen,